Hi everybody and welcome to part 2 of how to make a bonsai pot. In this video I will actually have a lot of part 2s because these are almost all the bonsai pots that I made so far. In this video I will show you how to glaze them, to bisque fire and the final burn and the result. The bonsai pots are now in the first fire in 650 degrees Celsius. And after that, when they are cool, it's time for me to start with the glaze. So here we go. This is what it looked like when it was raw, dry. And now these are all bisque fired. Small bonsai pots. So what I'm going to do right now is glaze them and then put them in the kiln for the final fire. And as you can see, the clay base is a little bit different. So some of them look very white and other a little bit more brown. So this also gives a little bit difference in the glazing. This is a raku clay, and it actually eats the glaze a little bit more than this white base. So the things I need right now is, of course, glaze, and the glaze I have is for stoneware, so it goes all the way up to 1280 degrees. I might need this. I like to use brushes, and of course something to pour it in if I need it, and just a sponge to clean up. So let's begin. I will not show how to glaze all of them, but of course a little bit. The first pot is going to have a not so shiny jade green glaze on it. I mix the glaze well so that all the ingredients mix really good, and then I pour it into a mug, and this time I will use a brush. So I just brush the glaze on, and after that I actually dip the rim to get a little bit more on the edges. Always when you glaze you have to be careful to clean the feet so that it will not stick to the kiln. Glaze will otherwise be like a glue, and it's not really easy to get it loose. You have to cut it loose from the kiln otherwise. So this is the first one. The second method is just to pour glaze. So this pot, I just turn it all around and pour glaze all over it. I go through it about 2 or 3 times to get a good glaze, and then I use a brush for the feet. The result on the different clay bases varies a lot. So this 1154 base eats a lot of the glaze. That's what I noticed. This small pot I just dip, and then I use a brush for the edges. I must say I don't really like glazing that much. I consider the work done when they are drying, but of course sometimes you actually need to glaze your pots. This clay base, the white one, doesn't have that much grog, and I think that the glaze is much nicer on this one. Because of the Finnish winter, I also brush a little bit on the inside. This way it can deal with the Finnish winter and the cold. This is the biggest bonsai pot today. I pour the glaze on it and again use a brush if needed. And you can also see that I pour a lot of glaze also on the legs. This is a moss green glaze and I really like the color of it. So I pour it on and again use a brush if I need to. I cover the rim with a brush and of course try to find all the white spots so it looks really nice. And then it's important to clean the feet. So I use a wet sponge and take away a little bit of the glaze, also a few millimeters more than I need. This is important, otherwise it might stick into the kiln. After this, it's time to load the kiln and burn the whole thing in 1250 degrees. And this is exciting as usual. It's still 88 degrees inside Celsius, so I need gloves to take out my pieces. So let's just hope that everything is alright inside. Here we go. Fingers crossed. Oh yes, it looks really nice. Let's see now. Start with the smaller ones. So here's one bonsai pot. Hope you can see it. Looks really nice. And really small marmee pot. Also okay. Then we have this bigger one. It was supposed to be a little bit more green, but as I told you, 1154, the clay base, I think sometimes it doesn't turn out the way it should. When you look at the test tiles, it's more this green that I wanted. But okay, brown pot. Then we have the crescent moon shape. And yes, this one turned out really nice. It's green. Still hot. I can hear it cracking a little bit. Yeah, I like this one. And because of the Finnish winter, I always use a little bit of glaze also on the inside, because if I don't have any glaze, it might just be ruined in the winter with the ice and freezing water. So I always glaze a little bit also on the inside. That one's nice. Oh, this one is also really good. I love it. Looks good. And then the smallest one. This one I carved a little bit of a landscape. It doesn't really show that well. This and this is probably the same glaze, and you can see there's just a little bit of green in it. Then we go to the first floor. Always when you remove these tiles in between, I always shake the whole thing so that the distances will not stick to it, otherwise they might fall and ruin the things you have made. Oh yeah, just a small one. Really nice. Like it. Then we have one more carved hexagonal. It's brown. And then we go to the last one. I'll just take these distances away. Are you ready? This one is really nice. I love it. And here you can see it's really close that it actually almost got stuck into the kiln. If this drop would have been a little bit bigger, I would probably have to cut it loose from the kiln. This one is still really hot, so I think I will leave it for a while inside. So that's about it. A lot of pots to put some trees in this spring. So here's a final look at the pots, and as you can see, the glazes are a little bit different from each other. Many of them green, but some of them a brownish color. If you want to see how I made these pots, remember to check out my How to Carve a Bonsai Pot, or in my playlist. You can find the Bonsai Pot playlist on my channel. And if you're new to my channel, please remember to subscribe. I hope you find this inspiring, and if you have any questions or comments, please write them to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you again. Bye bye.